they all spoke very highly of the applicant in terms of his work and also his personal behavior or his family support that they wanted to have. There were others who felt that they were severely affected by this, and most of those were close neighbors who said sometimes the noise was very difficult to put up with. The cars and automobiles generated not only by the family, apparently there are a number of vehicles by the family, but also those being worked on, oftentimes would block the sidewalk. There were people who felt that any type of this imposition in a neighborhood started to commercialize that and felt it would decrease the value of their property, and that the activity as a commercial venture would have to be disclosed. Say that the neighbors wanted to sell their home and disclose that there's this activity there. I felt that it was a severe detriment to the quality of the neighborhood, and felt that they didn't meet the guidelines of the conditional use permit when talking about home occupations, when they talked about the maintenance of one of the items, the maintenance of the residential character, and the conditional use is operating in a garage. So we had a lively meeting that went on for probably 3 hours, and they took no decision after the public hearing, as you often do. The next meeting on September 15th, the Planning Commission again convenes. They did not take any other additional testimony or comments. They did debate amongst themselves, and I think you've had a copy of those minutes as well as their discussion of the conditional use, the effect of this in the neighborhood, and what was given to them as information at the public hearing, and whether or not they felt that the noise generated could be mitigated in some fashion. The other effects of traffic and the parking situation could be mitigated. They really didn't address the question of allowing this into a garage, because our ordinance says it can be allowed as a conditional use. That's what our present ordinance says. I believe that essentially covers what was spoken at that public hearing, and amongst the planning commissioners, Dave gave you the additional conditions that the planning commission finally voted on to implement with the granting of this conditional use permit.
Thank you, Craig. Does the council have any questions for Craig this time? Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm Kim Hall, and I live at 570 East, 3600 North. And I'm sorry that this has affected our neighborhood the way it has. It shouldn't, but I did want to speak in behalf of the Bagleys. Sorry. If they want to complain about noise from an air compressor, we have several neighbors that have air compressors in their garage that are used often, and so if they want to claim that that's the nuisance, then they have a problem with several neighbors' garage. And it's not just air compressors. I'm a stay-at-home mom. There are several that have power washers, and they use them frequently. I've had other neighbors that, to help support a wife go through school, was rebuilding cars in their garage. I didn't have a problem with it because I knew that it was helping the family, and I think this is helping this family too. And when the need ends, I'm sure that this will too. The congested parking, I stated this at the Planning Commission, it is not because of the business, it is family cars that they have a problem with. And I can understand that, but they do have 3 adult kids that have cars, and they are parents, so that is 5 cars. When I have teenagers, are they going to have an issue when I have 5 cars in my driveway? So I just want to point that out. The impact on the property values. I talked to a local realtor, and she stated that you do not have to disclose that. to. And I don't think that the people that would be coming in our neighborhood would be, I don't think it would have an effect whether they bought the property, a house in that neighborhood or not. She didn't think that it would affect the property values. They're already down right now, and even when they change, she didn't think that it would affect it. His next one was the increased traffic flow. With 2 additional cars on our street, I don't think that that's going to make a difference. That's just like having the teenagers come visit a friend, or whatever. So I can't see that it's going to have that much of an increase on traffic flow. The next one, the potential fire, the safety hazard. I know the fire marshal has already been to their home, checked out the garage where the repairs are occurring, and the fire marshal's only concern was that they needed a fire extinguisher, and I'm sure that they can get that. Set the precedent for others in the neighborhood to start garage businesses. In our neighborhood, we have several individuals that work from their home, and so having another individual work from their home, I don't think is a very big deal. And stress from the nuisance, I think the nuisance is the fact that we're here, and that is probably what is causing stress for the heart condition. It's been stressful for everybody, but it's in different ways. Hopefully that you will see it in your hearts to approve this, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor, honorable members of the council. My name is Kent Greenwood. I live at 600 East, 3651 North, just around the corner on the street, a couple houses from Mr. Bagley. I don't know him. I don't think I've ever said 2 words to him. I'm sure he has a fine family. I'm sure he's an honest, trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind person. That is not the issue that we're here on today. The issue is violation of the law. Violation of quiet enjoyment of the property that we all bought, in my case, 11 years ago, when I retired, thinking, mistakenly and misdirectedly, that I was going to move into an upscale neighborhood, paid almost $500,000 for my house, and I've added to it since then. And now, and I don't know what realtor this other young lady talked to, but I've talked to a realtor and says you must disclose. And I'm not such a sneak, I'm not going to disclose. If I decide to sell my house, I'm not going to sneak it to somebody else and slip it to them. I'll tell them there's a garage around the corner if you so choose to put this, approve this conditional permit. Now, I don't want to go over everything that the county, or the city attorney, and that Walt's gone over. I've written a letter to the mayor, which I've been assured has been given to all of it, points out all of the laws that are being violated, all the way from common law to city ordinance to state law are being violated. And it doesn't matter if 50 people are being offended, it only takes 3 to be offended by state law. If 3 people are offended, if you'll refer to the law that I submitted for your purposes, you'll find that the things that are outlined that have all been described here. Now, the fire marshal passed off all he needs is a fire extinguisher. I'd like to call your attention back about a month or 2 ago when we had a near catastrophe in Times Square in New York City. All that guy had was a couple of cans of gas and a little can of propane. And they said it would decimate Times Square. He's got oxygen, acetylene, and who knows how many other solvents, brake fluids, antifreezes, and other things that are flammable, explosive, toxic, and obnoxious to the people who have to smell them all day long, along with the smell of grease and other things that come along. Now, I personally am not affected by those, but I'm going to be affected by my house. My house is my retirement. When I have to go to a retirement home, I don't want to take a $20,000 hit because there's a dadgum auto repair shop in an upscale neighborhood. That's not fair to me. It's not fair to anybody that's bought a house up there.